The distress signal commander, Elena Vasquez, stood at the observation deck of Deep Space Station Ares, watching the red glow of Mars through the reinforced windows. The station orbited the planet at a safe distance, its massive arrays constantly scanning the void for any signs of alien activity. For 3 years, Elena had commanded this outpost, and in all that time, they had detected nothing more interesting than cosmic radiation and the occasional meteor shower. The coffee in her hands had gone cold hours ago, but she barely noticed. The night shift was always the longest, filled with reports, maintenance schedules, and the endless task of monitoring signals from the deepest reaches of space. Earth's government had built stations, like this one throughout the solar system, after the first confirmed alien signal had been detected 5 years earlier. That signal had been nothing more than a simple mathematical sequence, but it had changed everything. Humanity now knew they were not alone in the universe. Lieutenant Sarah Blake burst through the door to the observation deck, her face flushed with excitement. She was young, barely 25, and had joined the Deep Space Communication course straight from the academy. Her enthusiasm reminded Elena of herself at that age, back when the possibility of alien contact had seemed like a distant dream rather than a daily responsibility. "Commander, you need to see this," Sarah said, holding up a datapad. "We have picked up something from the Andromeda sector. It is not like anything we have ever received before." Elena set down her coffee and took the datapad. The screen showed a complex waveform, unlike the simple patterns they usually monitored. This signal had structure, rhythm, and what looked like emotional undertones. "How long have you been tracking this?" "About 2 hours. It started weak, but it is getting stronger. Whatever is sending this signal, it is trying very hard to reach someone." Sarah's eyes were bright with the thrill of discovery. "Commander, I think this might be a distress call." Elena studied the data more carefully. The signal repeated every 37 seconds, with slight variations each time. It reminded her of someone calling for help, growing more desperate with each attempt. "Get Dr. Chon up here immediately. If this is what I think it is, we are going to need his expertise." Dr. Marcus Chon arrived within minutes, his gray hair disheveled from sleep, but his mind already sharp and focused. He was Earth's leading expert on xenolinguistics, the study of alien languages. For 20 years, he had prepared for this moment, developing theories and protocols for first contact with alien species. Now, faced with what might be humanity's first real alien communication, he felt both excitement and the weight of responsibility. "Play the signal," he said, settling into a chair next to the main communication console. Sarah activated the recording, and the strange, haunting sounds filled the room. Dr. Chun closed his eyes, listening to the patterns and rhythms. "This is definitely not natural. There is intelligence behind this signal, and emotion too. Fear, I think, maybe desperation." Elena leaned forward. "Can you translate it? Give me time. This is more complex than anything we have theorized about. The mathematical structures suggest a highly advanced civilization, but the emotional patterns indicate they are in serious trouble." Dr. Chun looked up at Elena. "Commander, I think someone out there is asking for help." For the next 6 hours, Dr. Chun worked without rest. He used every computer program and linguistic theory at his disposal, slowly breaking down the alien signal into its component parts. Sarah assisted him, running pattern analysis and signal enhancement programs. Elena coordinated with other deep space stations, gathering additional data and confirming that the signal was indeed coming from beyond their solar system. As the sun rose over Mars, casting long shadows across the station, Dr. Chun finally called Elena to his workstation. His face was pale, but his eyes held a mixture of wonder and concern. "I have been able to decode most of the message. What I have found is both amazing and terrifying." Elena sat down across from him. What do they say? Dr. Chun activated a cleaned-up version of the signal. The alien sounds were clearer now, and through the translation program, human words began to emerge. We are the Zephyrians of the third world of Kepler 442. We have lived in peace for 1,000 cycles, harming no one, seeking only knowledge in harmony with the stars. But now the darkness comes. The Krillian Empire has found us, and we have no weapons to defend ourselves. They take our people as slaves and destroy our cities. We broadcast this message to anyone who might hear, hoping that somewhere in the vast universe there are others who believe that peaceful beings deserve to live in freedom. If you can hear this, please help us. We are dying. The room fell silent. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Somewhere, 47 light years away, an entire civilization was crying out for help. She looked at Dr. Chun. How sure are you about this translation? Very sure. I have checked it against every linguistic model we have. These people are peaceful, they have no weapons, and they are being attacked by a militaristic empire that enslaves entire worlds. Dr. Chun's voice was heavy with the weight of the revelation. Commander, they sent this message to the entire galaxy. They do not even know if anyone will hear it, but they are so desperate that they are willing to try anything. Elena stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the vast emptiness of space. Somewhere out there, people were dying, and they had asked for help. The question was, what could humanity do about it? Get me a direct line to Admiral Harrison at Fleet Command. Priority 1. Admiral James Harrison was in his office at Luna Base when the call came through. He was a tall man with silver hair and the bearing of someone who had spent 40 years in military service. He had commanded fleets in 3 different conflicts and had earned the respect of every officer under his command. When Elena's message reached him, he listened without interruption, his face growing more serious with each detail. Commander Vasquez, are you absolutely certain about this translation? He asked when she finished. Yes, sir. Dr. Chun has verified it multiple times. These people are peaceful, they have no weapons, and they are being slaughtered by an empire that apparently makes a practice of enslaving entire worlds. Elena's voice was steady, but Harrison could hear the underlying tension. Admiral, they asked for help. They do not know who we are. They do not know if we even exist, but they asked for help. Harrison was quiet for a long moment. As a military commander, he understood the strategic implications of what Elena was telling him. Humanity had never traveled more than a few light years from Earth. They had no treaties with alien species, no understanding of galactic politics, and no authority to intervene in conflicts between alien civilizations. But they had also never encountered a situation like this before. Commander, I want you to continue monitoring that signal. Get me everything you can about these Zephyrians and their attackers. I need to speak with the Global Defense Council. Harrison paused, then added, and Commander, prepare a full report. If we are going to help these people, I need to know everything we can about what we are facing. Elena nodded. Yes, sir. Admiral, what do you think the Council will decide? Harrison looked out at the Earth, hanging like a blue jewel in the darkness of space. I think they will ask the same question I am asking myself. If someone called out for help, and we were the only ones who could answer, what kind of people would we be if we turned away? The Global Defense Council met in emergency session 12 hours later. Representatives from every nation on Earth gathered. In the secure chambers beneath Geneva, their faces grave as they listened to the translated alien message. The implications were staggering. This was humanity's first contact with alien life, and it was a cry for help from halfway across the galaxy. Dr. Chun presented his analysis of the Zephyrian signal. Based on their communication patterns, the Zephyrians are a highly advanced species with a peaceful culture. They have faster-than-light communication, advanced materials science, and what appears to be a sophisticated understanding of physics. However, they have no weapons technology and no military structure. They are completely defenseless against an aggressive species. The representative from the European Union raised her hand. Dr. Chun, what do we know about their attackers? Krillians? Less than I would like. From the Zephyrian message, the Krillians appear to be a militaristic empire that conquers other worlds. They have superior weapons technology and a fleet of warships. They practice slavery and seem to have little regard for the lives of other species. Dr. Chun's voice was grim. The Zephyrians indicate that resistance has been futile. Their world is being systematically destroyed. Admiral Harrison stepped forward. Council members, I have been in contact with our Deep Space Reconnaissance Division. The Zephyrian system is approximately 47 light-years from Earth. With our newest hyperspace engines, we could reach it in about 10 days. However, we would be going into an unknown situation against an enemy we know nothing about. The Chinese representative asked, Admiral, what kind of military response would be possible? I have 50 ships in the first Deep Space Fleet. Each one is equipped with our most advanced weapons and defensive systems. We have 12,000 Marines and support personnel. It is a formidable asterisk. The battle for freedom. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zephyrian system, and what they saw made every person on every ship stop and stare. The Zephyrian homeworld was unlike anything they had ever imagined. It was a world of crystalline cities that caught and reflected the light of its star, creating a planet that seemed to glow with its own inner fire. 3 moons orbited the world, each one covered in delicate spires that reached toward the stars like frozen music. Admiral Harrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance, watching the tactical display as his officers scanned the system. The beauty of the Zephyrian world was undeniable, but it was marred by the presence of the Krillian fleet. 30 massive ships hung in orbit around the planet, their dark hulls bristling with weapons. Even from this distance, it was clear that each Krillian vessel was larger than the biggest human ship. Admiral, called Lieutenant Commander Sarah Blake, who had been promoted to Fleet Communications Officer. I am receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. It is from the Zephyrians. Put it through, Harrison ordered. The main screen flickered, and an image appeared that took everyone's breath away. The Zephyrian who appeared on screen was tall and graceful, with features that seemed to be carved from living light. His skin had a translucent quality, and colors moved beneath the surface like aurora in the night sky. When he spoke, his voice was like wind chimes and distant thunder. I am Wingmaster Ethan of the Zephyrian Council. Are you the ones who sent the message of hope? His words were translated by Dr. Chun's computers, but the emotion behind them needed no translation. This was a being who had given up all hope and suddenly found it again. Admiral Harrison stepped forward. I am Admiral James Harrison of the United Earth Fleet. We received your distress call and have come to help. What is your current situation? Ethan's form seemed to brighten. The Krillians have given us 12 hours to surrender completely. They demand that all Zephyrians submit to slavery and that we hand over our children to be trained as soldiers for their empire. If we refuse, they will destroy our cities one by one until we comply. His voice carried the weight of despair. We have never fought a war. We have no weapons, no soldiers, no way to defend ourselves. Captain Maria Santos, commander of the flagship, studied the tactical display. Admiral, the Krillian fleet is positioned in a defensive formation around the planet. They have the high ground and superior numbers. Each of their ships appears to be at least 50% larger than our biggest vessels. Elena, who had been listening from her position at the communications console, stepped forward. Wingmaster Ethan, Can you tell us about the Krillian forces? What kind of weapons do they have? Ethan's image flickered as he accessed information. They have energy weapons that can burn through our strongest materials. They have missiles that can destroy entire city blocks. And they have boarding parties that take our people as slaves. His voice grew quieter. They have been attacking our outer settlements for weeks. We have seen what they do to those who resist. Dr. Chun looked up from his analysis station. Admiral, I have been monitoring Krillian communications. They are not expecting any resistance. Their messages indicate they view this as a routine. Conquest. They have done this to 17 other worlds. Harrison felt a cold anger building in his chest. The Krillians had turned conquest and slavery into a routine operation. They had never faced real resistance because they chose targets that could not fight back. Dr. Chun, can you establish communications with the Krillian fleet? Yes, Admiral. I have been monitoring their frequencies. Open a channel. Harrison straightened his uniform and faced the main screen. Krillian Fleet, this is Admiral James. Harrison of the United Earth Fleet, you are attacking a peaceful world and threatening innocent people. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. The response came quickly. The Krillian commander appeared on screen, and he was everything Harrison had expected. Overlord Vextar was a creature of nightmares, with scaled skin, burning red eyes, and fangs that gleamed in the light of his ship's bridge. His voice was a mixture of mockery and menace. Unknown species, you have made a terrible mistake. We are the Krillian Empire. We have conquered 17 worlds and enslaved millions. You cannot stop us. Harrison did not flinch. We are humans. We do not surrender innocent people to slavery. You have one chance to leave peacefully. Vextar laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Humans? We have never heard of you. You have 50 small ships against our 30 mighty vessels. You will die quickly, and then we will take your world as well. You are welcome to try, Harrison replied calmly. But you will find that humans are not as easy to conquer as you think. The communication channel closed. Harrison turned to his officers. All ships, battle stations. We have work to do. Captain Santos activated the fleet-wide communication system. All vessels. This is the flagship. We are going to show these Krillians what happens when they threaten innocent people. Remember, we are not just fighting for the Zephyrians. We are fighting for the principle that peaceful beings have the right to live free. The human fleet moved into attack formation. The ships were smaller than the Krillian vessels, but they were faster and more maneuverable. More importantly, they were crewed by humans who had chosen to risk their lives to help strangers. That made all the difference. Elena established contact with Wing Master Ethon again. We need to coordinate our attack. Can your people help us in any way? Ethan's form flickered with what might have been hope. We have no weapons, but we have something else. Our cities are built from living crystal that can channel energy. If we can modify the crystals, we might be able to create shields or disrupt their weapons. Dr. Chon looked up excitedly. Admiral, the Zephyrians have advanced material science. If we can work with them, we might be able to create new defensive systems. Harrison nodded. Do it. We will need every advantage we can get. The battle began when the Krillians opened fire. Their energy weapons lit up space with deadly beams of coherent light. The human ships scattered, using their superior speed to avoid the worst of the attack. But even so, 2 destroyers were hit, their shields flaring as they absorbed the impact. Captain Santos maneuvered the Defiance through the enemy formation, firing at the Krillian ships with precision weapons. The human plasma cannons were smaller than the Krillian energy weapons, but they were more accurate. Several Krillian vessels took hits, their armor glowing white-hot where the plasma struck. The Krillians responded with a coordinated attack. focusing their fire on the human flagship. The Defiance's shields held, but the ship shook under the impact. Elena, working at her station, managed to maintain contact with the Zephyrians, even as the battle raged around them. Wingmaster Ethan, we need those crystal modifications now. She called out over the noise of combat. We are working as fast as we can, Ethan replied. Our engineers are trying to tune the crystals to disrupt their energy weapons. Suddenly, the tactical display showed something new. The Krillian flagship, a massive vessel nearly twice the size of the Defiance, was moving toward the planet. Its weapons were charging for what looked like a devastating attack on the surface. Admiral, Captain Santos called out. The Krillian flagship is preparing to bombard the planet. If they fire, they will destroy millions of innocent people. Harrison did not hesitate. All ships focus fire on the Krillian flagship. We cannot let them harm the civilians. The human fleet turned as one and attacked the massive enemy vessel. Plasma cannons, missile launchers, and energy weapons all fired at once. The Krillian flagship's shields flared under the assault, but they held. The ship was simply too large and too well defended. That was when the Zephyrians made their move. Elena watched in amazement as the crystal cities on the planet's surface began to glow. The living crystals had been modified to create a massive energy field that reached into space. The field struck the Krillian flagship just as the human weapons hit, and the combination was devastating. The Krillian shields collapsed, and the human weapons tore into the ship's hull. Explosions rippled along the massive vessel's length, and it began to list to one side. Overlord Vextar appeared on the communication screen, his face twisted with rage. Impossible, he snarled. You cannot defeat us. We are the Krillian Empire. Admiral Harrison looked at him with calm determination. You were the Krillian Empire. Now you are just another bully who picked on the wrong people. The battle turned after that. The Krillian ships were powerful, but they were used to fighting helpless opponents. They had never faced an enemy that fought back with skill and determination. The human ships used their speed and agility to attack from unexpected angles. The Zephyrian crystals continued to disrupt the Krillian weapons, making their shots less accurate. Asterisk. Most importantly, the humans refused to give up. Even when ships were damaged, their crews continued to fight. When the destroyer Hughes Valiant lost its main weapons, it rammed a Krillian cruiser, destroying both ships but saving a dozen human vessels from destruction. Elena watched the battle from her position on the bridge, maintaining contact with the Zephyrians and coordinating the combined attack. She saw human courage and alien ingenuity working together to achieve what neither could have accomplished alone. Admiral, she called out. Wingmaster Ethan reports that the Krillian ground forces are retreating. The crystal fields are disrupting their equipment. Harrison smiled grimly. Then it is time to finish this. He activated the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, final attack. Let us send these slavers back where they came from. The human fleet attacked with everything they had. The remaining Krillian ships, outnumbered and outfought, began to retreat. Some tried to escape to hyperspace, but the Zephyrian crystal fields interfered with their navigation systems. Others attempted to fight to the end, but human determination and alien innovation proved too much for them. When the last Krillian ship either fled or was destroyed, the battle was over. The human fleet had lost 8 ships and nearly 1,000 personnel, but they had achieved their goal. The Zephyrian world was free. Wingmaster Ethan appeared on the main screen, his form blazing with joy and gratitude. Admiral Harrison, how can we ever thank you? You have saved our entire civilization. Harrison looked around at his officers, all of whom showed the exhaustion and satisfaction of a job well done. You do not need to thank us, Wingmaster. We are honored to have been able to help. But you risked everything for people you had never met. Ethan said. "You traveled across the galaxy to help strangers." "Why?" Elena stepped forward. "Because when someone calls for help, humans answer. It is who we are." In the days that followed, the humans and Zephyrians worked together to repair the damage from the battle. The Zephyrians shared their crystal technology, while the humans provided defensive systems to protect against future attacks. A friendship was formed that would last for generations. Dr. Chun established permanent communication links between Earth and the Zephyrian world. The two species began to share knowledge, culture, and dreams for the future. The Zephyrians, who had never known violence, learned about human concepts of courage and sacrifice. The humans, who had never known true peace, learned about the Zephyrian ideals of harmony and understanding. When the human fleet finally departed, they left behind a world transformed. The Zephyrians had not only survived, but had gained the knowledge and confidence to defend themselves. They had learned that even peaceful beings could stand up to bullies if they had the courage to try. Admiral Harrison stood on the bridge of the Defiance as the fleet prepared to jump back to Earth. Elena joined him, along with Dr. Chun and the other officers who had made the mission possible. "Admiral," Elena said, "do you think we will hear from them again?" Harrison looked out at the beautiful crystalline world one last time. "I think we will hear from many species, Elena. Word will spread that when someone calls for help, humanity answers. That is going to change everything." The human fleet jumped into hyperspace, carrying with them the knowledge that they had done something extraordinary. They had proven that courage and compassion could overcome fear and hatred. They had shown that it was possible for different species to work together for the common good. Most importantly, they had established a principle that would guide humanity for generations to come. No matter how far they traveled, no matter how dangerous the situation, humans would always answer when someone called for help. It was not just what they did. It was who they were. The message had gone out across the galaxy. Humanity had heard a desperate call and had responded with firepower, courage, and an unshakable belief in the value of innocent life. The Krillian Empire had learned that there were some people who would not be intimidated, some values that were worth fighting for, and some calls for help that would never go unanswered. As the human fleet disappeared into the swirling energies of hyperspace, the Zephyrian world continued to glow with crystalline light. But now it was not just the light of beauty. It was the light of hope, the light of freedom, and the light of a friendship that would illuminate the galaxy for years to come. The battle was over. The rescue was complete. And somewhere in the vast universe, other species were beginning to learn that when darkness falls and evil threatens, there is a species called humanity that will always answer the call for help. Asterisk.